Julio Supercharge, an advocate. I am a car reviewer. I review cars by touch and feel. I am an MC, spoken word artist, break dancer. Do anything that you wouldn't think a blind person can do. So like driving, riding motorbikes, skating, cooking, baking, hiking.
Is it that you were born without being able to see, or it's something that came?
I was born sighted, and at the age of 10, I lost my sight. And that day, when I woke up, saw darkness, went back to sleep. Unajua wazazi venye wanakuanga. So nikuja na mwiko. I hit the wall while running away from her. From there, I was now being taken to this hospital, and that hospital, and this doctor, and that doctor, this religious leader, huyo pastor, sijui nani. Nilikuwa nakanika nimeweka makeup asubuhi. Because eyelids lazima weke hizo oil, weke herbs, sijui gani huku, weke sasa hizo eye drop. I remember that one pastor really like squeezed my eyes like this. So I started tearing up. You see, the demons are coming out. It was too much. I contemplated suicide. Did God do this to me because of how naughty I was?
Hello guys, welcome to the Mungai Eve show, and on today's video I'm having an amazing guest. I've always wanted to do an interview with him, and finally it's happening. He's an amazing guy. We've seen him on social media. He does car reviews, and the most interesting thing about his story is that he can't see. So it's fascinating that he can review cars without being able to see. So he's known as Julio. We're gonna hear out his story. Yeah, so stay tuned. Hi, Julio.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Maybe to somebody who doesn't know who you are, you can introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you. So my name, full names, starting with ID names. Julius Mbura. I'm also known as Julio or Julio. Normally I tell people Julio, they write H. Julio Supercharge, and I am an advocate. I am a car reviewer. I review cars by touch and feel. I wear quite some hats. I am an MC, spoken word artist, break dancer. I do anything that you wouldn't think a blind person can do. So like driving, riding motorbikes, skating, cooking, baking, hiking, everything. My bucket list is, you know.
Yeah, you could do a lot of things that some of us actually we can't.
Yeah. Thing about life is you go as far as you let your mind perceive, and also like normally if you have a sense taken away from you, you use other senses to deepen your experience in life. So I don't limit myself. My disability has only been my strength, and I go beyond and just breaking barriers. So I also mentor people, especially kids with disabilities, to show them that life is what you make it, and you make it in your own terms.
Wow.
So over and above, I feel like I have embodied a symbol of hope and what's possible. Like in this life, like capabilities, and even when I'm just doing things, people think I'm putting myself in danger, but I'm just living life to show that there's no way you can sort of like bring yourself down. Yeah, so from the disability world, because I'm a big champion of disability inclusion, and also to the wider society, to just push for that, you know, equality. Yeah, in whatever I do.
Wow, that's a great introduction. Maybe Julio, you can let us know your story.
Yeah.
Is it that you were born without being able to see, or it's something that came?
Yeah, so my story is up and downs. I was born sighted.
Oh.
Yeah, and at the age of 10, I lost my sight. It was very difficult, a very trying time for me and my family, because we didn't know what was happening. And then, you know, the love of a mother, they'll just take you everywhere to just explore treatments, cure. So I have a very rare condition. It's called retinitis pigmentosa, but I have another underlying one called maculopathy, and that's the condition that struck first. Okay. So when it struck, before that I had been taken to Kikuya unit. And the reason why they didn't see the problem is because if you look at my eyes, you'd think I can see.
Yeah, you'd think you can see it.
Yeah, everything is intact. Even my friends, a while ago, they were asking me, why don't you wear shades to sort of like indicate and identify as a blind person? I'm like, I don't see a problem just being like who I am. Because normally if you're wearing shades, there is like a deformity in your eyes. So mine don't have any indicator. You wouldn't know that I'm blind, especially if I put my weight cane away. And yeah, so it came back after like a year and a half. At the time, I'd been taken to Thika Primary School for the blind. So I had been taught Braille, mobility, orientation, and everything that pertains the blind universe, as I call it. And then started coming back after like a year and a half. Got better actually to a point where I could write and read with a pen. But after like 6-7 months, started going down again. And that's when I was prescribed for glasses. I used to wear very heavy magnification. Yeah, and they used to like take a lot than even help me, because I moved from positive 14 to positive 25 by the time I was in class 8. Okay, before maybe we move forward, you've mentioned that you lost sight at the age of 10. Yeah. I'd like to understand, like, how was it, like, that particular moment when you realized, like, couldn't see? Is it you just woke up and it happened, or how did it happen? Was it slowly by slowly? So it was both gradual and abrupt, because the gradual bit, my eyes became squintier. So there's a way I was looking at people. I lost central vision, but I was still in denial. And then, you know, for a 10-year-old, you don't know what's happening to you. And I didn't want to sort of like be put in a box where people are calling me blind or, you know, visually impaired. Because I remember I used to sit at the back of the class, and when it started happening, I started moving closer to the board. And then to just make it cool, I used to go to the board, cram everything before the teacher rubs it on the board, and come put it down on paper. So it actually became like a thing, like even my other classmates would do the same. So I didn't really like absorb what was happening. Even my mom, I remember there's a time one of my aunts said, hey, there's a way Julius looks at people nowadays. And my mom was like, in Maringo ya Nairobi. So we didn't really like sit down and try analyze what was happening. And when we went to Kikuya unit, you know, when they say you don't have a problem, we dismiss the whole thing. But then one day I wake up, and at this time I had been taken to school for mentally challenged people. Oh, really? Actually, that was a dark period for me. I didn't like going to school at all. So I remember even that day when I woke up, it was very dark, went back to sleep. Then, you know, there's a way you'll know that. So you were in school at that particular time? Yeah, I was in a school for mentally challenged people. And I remember, so how did you end up in the school for mentally? Because when I was taken to Kikuya unit, they didn't see the problem. I was taken to private doctors. One of the doctors, actually my mom fed him the story, because my mom was like, hey, there's a time he had cerebral malaria, oh, blah, blah, blah. So this guy said, I have like mental issues. That's why I'm very, very aggressive and agitated all the time. Because I used to just lash out at anyone. Especially if you say like, kwani hauoni? I'd pita with you. Because I remember we used to make fun of a certain girl in class who used to have very thick glasses. So tuko tunawadi tunamnyang'anya, tuna burn paper. Unaona ukiweka magnification juu ya paper, it started burning. And I didn't want to be that clown in class, like jamaa oni, something like that. So yeah, I was taken to a school for mentally challenged. And I remember 1 week prior to my sight going, my mom was called to school by the teachers, because like the only people I could like interact with were teachers and subordinate staff. Because wase kwa class, I was like okay, I don't want to say like the brightest, but because I didn't have any mental issues, I was like at the top of the class. Within 3 days, I was the head boy, prefect, liaison to the teachers. Like, so the teacher told my mom, Julius akiendelea hapa, it will get worse because of being in this setup. So he needs more assessment, and we would prefer if anaweza angaliwa macho tena, because there is really something wrong with him, and it's not mental. So that day I wake up. So for how long did you stay in the mental school? 2 terms. Okay. No, 1.5. Okay. And then now I became blind. And that day, it was just a normal day. But when when I woke up, saw darkness, went back to sleep. Kuamka tena, my mom had the commotion, blah blah blah. Akuja unajua wazazi venye wanakuanga. So alikuja na mwiko. I hit the wall while running away from her. And that's how it actually hit me that
you can't see.
I can't see. And our lives changed completely from that moment. Because from there, I was now being taken to this hospital, and that hospital, and this doctor, and that doctor, this religious leader, your pastor, sijui nani. My mom would be told, like, there's this new pastor we know, and it's another idea. I remember we used to sleep on bus stations, waiting for churches to open up. There's a time we went to Nyahururu. We got there at around 6:30. The church, the church was being opened at around 8. So we had to sleep in that matatu and wait for the church to open. I've been taken to people who are very sketchy, like ni kama mganga, ni kama mrogi, ujui, mnaingia hivi. You get to a point where now you start lying. Ukiombewa, you just tell them, yeah, I can see. But you can't. It's because like it's like torture. I remember that one pastor really like squeezed my eyes like this, and when you do that, because my eyes are alive, it doesn't mean like my tear glands don't work. So I started tearing up, and then alikuwa like, you see, the demons are coming out. And then he was pointing at these Coca-Cola balls. So when he's pointing, these other guys, they are talking at atajua hiyo Coca-Cola atajua. So he pointed, he was like, can you see that? I was like, yeah. I just wanted to end, Mazi. I just wanted to end. He handed me a Bible. Atibu soma hapa. So I just guessed. The Bible, the cover would be written Holy Bible. I was like, Holy Bible. Jesus has come down. He celebrated, and then mom knew I was lying to just get out of that situation. So when he got out of that house, mom was like, hauoni? Kaambia, yeah, ni kawaida tu.
So it was not the first time.
It was not the first time. There's a time we went to a crusade, and this person is trying to, that holy Bible, and then you like fall, yeah? So I didn't.
By the way, do people fall since you've ever been in that situation?
You're sweet, by the way. Mi nilipigo sweep ingine kali. Yani one of the ushers waliona this guy, because akilifanya hivi, unajua anafanya na nguvu hivi, then you lose your balance, yeah?
So that's what happened?
Nilipigo sweep from behind. I was down.
That's what usually happens.
And then the disorientation, because when you fall, of course, kutakuwa na ile, what's happening? Ndio nasema sasa, yeah, Holy Spirit is coming.
Okay.
Man, yeah, I've had it, like I've had people even trying to pay for my flight, niende ni meet G Prophet who, all those things. And
by this time, how old were you?
I was 10.
Oh, really?
I was like 10, turning 11.
You're really getting
I was very tiny,
that.
by the way. After that pastor trying to make me fall, I was like a dunga. The pigo sweep where? Yeah, so all that, I remember when I went to Thika Primary School for the Blind, interacting with blind people, especially like born blind. I remember this boy who got blind because the lion, when he was very young, got his head inside of, like he was the lion was trying to use him as leverage. Ikamvuta, he was like months old, like 6-7 months. Ilimvuta hadi kwa fence. You can imagine the intelligence, because the villagers wouldn't like attack it with the boy, like ilikuwa imemweka kichwa ndani ya mdomo. Yes. Wow. So when you release, the canines, the lion, because imepierce the eyes, huku hivi kugwara juu hiyo kuwiggle around. So when you experience such, na unasikia stories za wengine venye they became blind, kama boy mwingine so unajua VP venye anakuanga, alikanyaga chura ikarusha sort of like maji kwa macho yake. So you realize, wow, I'm even better. So I remember I came home the first holiday and I told mom I'm okay. And that's how I liberated mom. Like I told her mimi niko sawa. All these things, sijui trip to sijui where makueni kwenda kuombea, unnecessary kabisa.
Like for how long did you guys do that? The trips, maombi?
It was like 4 months. Because I remember I became blind like mid-2001. And then from that moment till September na huko October, it was just going to this person recommendation hapa. And then some doctors had come from the US. Hao ndo walikuja sawa kaona shida yangu because they had a specialist of the back of the eye. Okay. So this is around October. We went for a boot camp, I remember Kitusuru na huko hivyo. And that is where now I was told, mom was told, you can actually take him to a school for the blind for his education to continue. And then, they gave me eye drops, Nini. They were not working. I remember there was like acid. I used to put them and have like severe migraines. So I got to a point actually I stopped using them, but I didn't tell mom. Years later. But I had so many things to work with. I had anointing oil, what oil, and now these eye drops. Nilikuwa nakanika nimeweka makeup asubuhi because eyelids lazima weke hizo oil, weke herbs sijui gani huku, weke sasa hizo eye drops. It was too much. So I just decided if it's God's doing, I'll just move with it. Yeah. And I was very determined now more than ever to have a quality education since I'm in a school for the blind and I have all equipment to make me thrive. So niliambianga mom, let me just focus on my education now. And because I have been taking classes behind, I was actually very bitter at the beginning, but later on I understood that they needed to teach me Braille orientation for me to be to accept my situation and to embrace. And of course venye macho ilirudi nikarudisha kiburi kidogo. So ukiwa 10 years ikapotea, ukaona for how ilirudi kwa how old? 11 and a half, 12 years. Yeah. So
and for how long did you stay with the sight?
So ilikuja was like severely low vision. Ile macho ya kuomba. But I stayed with it till 2019. But at the beginning it was stronger. Then ikaenda deteriorate because nilikuwa natumia very heavy magnification. Ule dem tuko na chekelea na hizo heavy glasses. That was me now, looking like a professor with tiny face and very thick lenses.
So right, by then you went, you were still in the blind school?
Yeah.
You didn't change
blind school.
You didn't change the school?
Yeah, it caters for visually impaired.
Okay.
So visually impaired, you have blind on the extreme end, and you have low vision.
Okay.
Since I'm low vision, this was still the best school to be in. Because I remember when going to high school, we had to forgo so many schools, and I had passed. I had 400 marks out of 500. So many national schools wanted me to join their schools,
of course,
to show inclusivity, to try show the sort of like a reasonable accommodation. But I was like, should I go risk with a school that doesn't have even like teachers who know Braille? Because now I had been advised, it's good you stop using glasses, you go back to Braille. So the whole of high school, ilikuwa like I have to use Braille. Yeah. So I was like, should I go to these big schools like in Amangu? And we actually did a round with mom. Na swali moja tuko tunauliza ni, do you have Braille facilities? Like Braille machine, a teacher who understands Braille for transcription? And they're like, no, but we can employ one. I'm like, no, that won't work.
Won't work.
Yeah, so I was like, let me just go to a school that understands me. And because nilikuwa like, since I've passed well in a school for the blind, doesn't mean that even high school I can't do the same, because I am the constant. Everything else is circumstantial. Yeah. Being in a good school or not, you decide your path. So yeah, I did pure Braille in high school. Within 3 months, nilikuwa nishashika the whole of Braille. Yeah, okay.
Maybe I can, sorry for cutting you short, but maybe I can, we'd like to know, how did you manage to get yourself out of that situation? You know, most of the people, when you're born, imagine like right now, I would imagine if I wake up and not be able to see, probably it would take so long to accept myself, to adapt. But for you, it didn't even affect your education.
No, it did affect me. But once you start realizing that there's nothing you can do about it, because you beat yourself up to that point where you realize now you have to adapt. You have no option. Because you either stay in that situation and wallow and cry about it and not move forward, or you accept, you embrace yourself, and then you start working on your inner self. To actually be better, you work on your self-esteem, because the worst thing that can happen is like the world just throwing, you know, stumbling blocks towards you. The best thing you can do is prepare for that. So what I did, because I remember when I was 10, you can imagine at that young tender age, I contemplated suicide because I saw my world caving in. So I actually attempted suicide. Then woke up after like 72 hours. I had taken like
What had you taken?
Sleeping pills, like almost 60 of them.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. But I woke up very angry that I didn't do it right.
You woke up very angry that you didn't die.
I was like, am I in heaven? Is heaven still dark? You know?
Yeah.
But once you realize that you have so much potential inside of you and you have like unlimited power, limitations live in your head. So, and I didn't know this until I got into campus, because primary, high school, 80% of people are like you. They're either blind, so they are worse than you, or they are low vision, so on the same level. So there's nothing you can even tell me, you know, or even like make a bad joke or insensitive comments, and for it to get to me. But in university, voila, it flipped.
Which uni did you go?
University of Nairobi.
Okay.
School of Law. So it flipped. It was in a class of 300 students. I'm the only student not only blind, but with any kind of a disability. So you can imagine trying to accommodate all these other people. Some people are coming from an ignorant point of view. Others are coming from a background where they're very sympathetic, pity, woishe, kind of, you know. And others, they just don't care. They will be rude for no reason. They will, you know, so you really have to work on yourself and your sense of belief, because mi nilikuwa nafikirianga wase wako understanding huko nje, like disability, because when I lost my sight the first time, I could tell like our neighbors used to discriminate upon us.
Oh,
and, stigma
upon you as a family, not you.
Yeah, as a family, and especially even me. Like ungesikia neighbor ameambia mtoto wake, don't play with Julius, utaleta hiyo curse home.
Oh, they used to view it as a curse.
Yeah, and you know, kids are very innocent. Yeah. But you start telling them that, then they start creating that, and that's how you continuously fuel stigma. Yeah. So Campo, I started realizing there are so many things that I'd put on hold just because I have this disability. But I was like, I might have this for the rest of my life. Yeah. And then I went for extensive review, and doctors told me there is a high chance that you might lose your sight again. So I was like, why sit here and complain about what I can't change? How about I start working on things that I can do with this little sight? That's how I started reigniting my love for cars, my passion for music and poetry. Yeah. I started just going all out. Nikaanza kuendesha gari, nilianza na kuride motorbike. I could see 1 meter. So even for the car, you see where the bonnet ends? Sight yangu ilikuwa inaishia hapo. So I used to like bring the seat so that I can at least leverage on that small sight. Nione hapo, dup, hapo hivyo kwa bonnet hapo chini. But I can't. So I used to work with the wide view, wide view. But I was so much in tune with my senses, because I knew sight, it's for a borrowed time. And we don't know when or how it will manifest. So the best I can do is use it and maximize and actually put myself in a vantage point. I don't have a reason to go back to where I was, depressed and all. So I started like familiarizing myself with the CBD. Even now, I walk in the CBD by myself. I can go from one street to another. Uniambie, hey, Julio, niko hapa hivi bazaar. Say I'm at railways. I know how to navigate to get to bazaar without needing an aid. This was pushed out of frustrations. Beshte yako anakuja anakuambia, ndakupeleka. Unaenda wapi? Afya house. Ndakupeleka. And then 2-3 hours later, anakuja sasa kuambia, can we go? You know, it's like you're plugging into their schedule. Yeah. So in sense, you're actually disturbing them.
You're a burden.
You're a burden. Yeah. And mara ya kwanza, people will be warm. They'll be, no, we can handle nini. But later on,
people get tired.
Yeah, they get tired.
It's normal. Realizing. Human beings.
Yeah. And I was like, do I need to deal with this for the rest of my life? That's how I started pushing myself, just doing things that would position me to be very independent, but at the same time, strive for a fulfilling life.
Maybe a quick one. On the other side, like how did your mom take the whole situation? And also, through this conversation, mentioning about your mom, we've not heard about her dad. Does it mean you've been brought up by your mom alone? Yeah,
been brought up by my mom.
Okay.
And I've had very supportive people around me.
Okay.
My mom is my number one pillar. That's why I'll keep on mentioning her, because like we came from far. We came from a point where she used to cry every night, to a point where actually as a child, I'm the one comforting her, telling her it's okay. I am okay. I remember there's even a time I got really mad, and I started questioning, like, did God do this to me because of how naughty I was? Then my mom was like, usiwai sema hivo.
You used to be naughty.
I was. Yeah, so I was like,
you were just a naughty boy.
This is like a punishment. But then, looking at it, I feel like this happened to me to give me a purpose and drive in life. And it actually gave me a reason to just push for more and break barriers beyond what people like view disability to be. And that's what I continue to do. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. So you mentioned how people could be so insensitive when you got to uni.
Yeah.
What are some of the things maybe somebody that could say to you that you still can remember till now?
Hey, there's so many, but some of them, sometimes I enjoy banter. I even banter myself sometimes.
Yeah, actually you just did.
Yeah, I do a lot of blind jokes.
When you were having conversation.
Yeah, but sometimes it borders that, and it gets out of hand where people now are telling you, like, you're not enough. Like, how do you tell me that? I've really worked on myself for all these years. So sometimes it can be even like, I remember there's a time I was getting into an establishment, and that wachi alikuwa like, no, we don't allow people like you inside here. Because just I have my white cane and I have a guide. And I'm like, I'm coming to spend my money. So I don't understand. When you say people like you, does it mean, and that's the connotation of disability in the society that we live in, because it's very dominant on ableism, that people don't even notice when they're doing persons with disabilities, they're treating them wrong. So in my quest to pushing for disability inclusion, I'm very aware of what people and how people even view me, because some people will come with that angle of, oh, so you're blind. Hey, mi neza jua. Nikiweza pata mi ni blind. So you can imagine someone making that comment.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you just take it to the grain of salt and just move on. But you also take that chance to educate these people that, disability is not a curse.
No.
Yeah, because we don't choose our disabilities. You might wake up tomorrow. I woke up blind, right? Yeah. So you might wake up tomorrow, you're blind, or you're losing the ability to move around. Then do you actually put yourself in that position to think that it's so bad that I can't live with myself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
So of course you went to uni. You did law.
I did law.
Yeah. Did you? So far so good.
Yeah.
Have you practiced law yet, or you got to do other things that you're doing right now?
Yeah, I've practiced when I got out of KSL, because when you finish Campo, you go to KSL. And that's how I lost my sight the second time. It was actually like 3 weeks to my bar exams. And I got out of Campo. You're normally attached to, you look for a law firm to do your pupillage, which is like an attachment. And after that, I actually hung around there for a while. So yeah, I did practice at that time, but I knew my heart was in advocacy. So even getting into campus, I was doing law intentionally to sort of like drive change through advocacy and policy change. So I sort of like I got a recommendation for the organization I work for now. It's called Neighbours. We empower persons with disabilities through assistive technology and digital accessibility. Basically, I'm like a walking billboard of what's possible, because I'm even a beneficiary of the program. Because when I was in high school, they came and they exposed us to the digital world using screen reader and assistive technology. And that is what now I do at Neighbours as the advocacy officer and head of computer assistive technology, and of course the legal department.
Okay, so Julio, would you say as a country, you guys feel included already, or we are not yet there?
I'd say we are not yet there, but I'd say we've been making steps, because if you look at like 10 years, 20 years ago, we are not on the same level, but again, there's so much that can be done, and that's why we keep on preaching disability inclusion. We need the disability policy, we need the Disability Act to be updated, but we also need people on personal level and, you know, like institutions to actually implement some of these measures that are being put to ensure that there is reasonable accommodation, there is accessibility, there is you know, there is a level of understanding when it comes to disability, because when you look at all the challenges that persons with disabilities face, it's because of something that has not been done or something that is being done wrong. Yeah, so we need to do so much more to ensure that, and it's not only persons with disabilities. When you talk about inclusion, it has different pockets, because even like the elderly, you know, people who have like chronic illnesses, and you can even have a temporal disability. The reason why you have the Disability Act now in Kenya is because of Mwai Kibaki. He actually got on a wheelchair, and that is when now they brought the act and sign here, you know. And now, you know, 21 years later, we are trying to update and amend that act, because that is what 2001, 2003 when it was passed. So there's a lot that needs to be done. But it also needs like conscious, deliberate efforts from even like individuals to ensure that even when you're creating content, like you're a content creator, you make sure that it's actually inclusive. We have alt text that helps persons who are blind to actually consume photos on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere. So even like these platforms, to make them accessible, websites, to make sure that as Julius, I can get on your website and actually go from point A to point D without having to depend on someone else. Financial services, why can't I transact without having to depend on my guide or my aid? You know, like niangalilie, nieke pin. You know, it actually infringes on my privacy even. Yeah. So there's a lot that needs to be done, but it only takes, you know, like effort. If you put effort, I put effort, the other person does, then you realize we're actually inching closer to an inclusive society.
Wow. Yeah. So, of course, you finished school and everything. And something that most of us got to know you about, it's your ability to review cars.
Oh, yeah.
Through touch and feel. So I'd like to know your love for cars. When did it begin? And also, how did you end up doing this?
My love for cars goes way back when I was a young boy, and I used to draw a lot. Actually, I was a very good artist, and I used to get inspiration from like cars, because I used to walk to school. So I'd get like a profile of the car, and that would stick in my head. Even like in the evening, I'd still have that in my head, and that's how I put down on paper. Yeah, so I started getting attracted to cars because of the presence they have. And then when I lost my sight, I actually shut down for a while. And then when my sight came back, when I was low vision, I used to now sort of like study the silhouette look of the cars, because I can't see the emblems, you see. So when I look at, and I used to work with the profiles. When I was young, I didn't know that we have like different categories. The sedan, the SUV, you know, but I knew there was the big cars and the small cars. And then you have the sleek cars. The sleek cars are the Lamborghini, the supercars that we used to like watch on TV. So I started like studying a lot of the design language that different manufacturers have, and that's the silhouette look of a car. And even now, if you look at how I review cars, I normally touch the profile, and I normally look at the outer profile of the car, the silhouette, because I don't want to touch the emblem to make it interesting and also to sort of like test my mastery. So I normally touch the headlight, I go with the bonnet. That gives me an indication of if it's an SUV, a sedan, but up until I come to the rear contours of the car, that's when I know it's a hatchback, is it a station wagon, and then I'll use that to interpret what I have in my head. And I've studied like almost all manufacturers, even when we talk about Pagani, Bugatti, Zonda, all that. So I sort of like, especially in campus, I went on a deep dive, different manufacturers. I used to transnight, like for 3 days, I'm only concentrating on like Rolls Royce. For another like 3 days, I'm concentrating on the beef on Lamborghini and Ferrari. Then I go deeper into like, how did they come up with the different design languages? How do they still keep the brand going without having to dilute and, you know, keep up with the trends? You know, like Dodge, like then I was like, I'm concentrating on cars that are not in Kenya. Let me dial down and actually go to the Japanese market. And I started looking at the likes of Toyota, Mazda, you know, Honda, all these manufacturers, and looking at the different trims they have. If you look at Toyota, what are the trims that they have? They have the OG Toyota trim of, it's called what? The NZE, where it started, Corolla. And then they have all these trims going up to the, what we call the V8, the LCE, now we have the 300. So I used to look at the different trims, again, listen to engineers. What is their muse? What made them come up with that design particularly, and what are they trying to solve in the market? Yeah,
so when you're doing all this, investing your time, getting knowledge and everything about the cars and stuffs, like did you ever think of maybe one day you're gonna be reviewing cars, or you are just doing it for your own?
That was actually out of passion, and I was like, since I'm having this borrowed eye thingy for a while, let me just like immerse myself and really like look at all these cars.
Were you feeling pressured, knowing that maybe one day you're gonna wake up again?
Actually, sometimes it used to get to me because you know, you're like living on borrowed times.
Exactly, because you have to do a lot of things at the same time.
Yeah, but it got to a point I was like, when it comes, it comes.
You're ready.
Yeah, so, and actually like I'd done so much, watching movies, bench watching like series, TV series, but like movies I used to watch like twice, because I need to go with the wider angles and then come close, because I used to watch this close to the screen. But yeah, a big comic fan, so I used to follow on this like Marvel, DC world, and look at the different superheroes, and especially like Daredevil, where I feel like I have a deep connection with the character Daredevil, because this guy is actually being a lawyer during the day and a vigilante at night, and he's actually blind. So even like how he's magnified other senses, and I know it's fictional, but I was like, I don't want to be a boring blind guy. Yeah.
You know, most people when you see somebody with disability would assume they are boring.
And so you know, like how conversations come and they're like, oh, Julius, the blind guy, and that story ends there. I wanted to have
a lot to say about this guy. So taking you back to, I had asked earlier, did you know that you're gonna
I never review cars? No, I didn't know, and then I started following a lot of car reviewers. Actually, my inspiration is Supercar Blondie. I know I talk about her a lot, and it's because she made it in a male-dominated industry, and here I was trying to disrupt the norm in a visually dominated industry, because cars are very visual. It's what you see, the paint job, the different body lines, and all that. It's supposed to attract you, but again, there is the aspect of touch and feel that people didn't even utilize. And then later on, during COVID, I was like, with all these skill sets I have, what can I really like work on? Because I really wanted to do something in fashion, something on vlogs, something in, I think like different, like trying different things like cooking and all that. But I was like, what's that one thing that would make people like, what? You mean? Then I was like, since I am into cars, I can actually now start making people appreciate cars from a different dimension through touch and feel. So
and that's how you started.
That's how I started. But like at the beginning, I really didn't know. I was just doing it out of passion and love for cars. Yeah.
So when did you start filming and getting cars to review? Was it easy for you, or it was a challenge at the beginning?
At the beginning was a challenge, because like you go to people, you tell them, hey, I'm a blind car reviewer. Okay. I can review a cars. Okay. But I didn't have anything to show for.
Yeah.
But one guy really like believed in what I was trying to build. He's called Malik, Al Hussein Motors, and they actually gave me they gave me a chance. They told me, yeah, you can even start today, and that's how I started reviewing cars. This is 2020, I think around July there. That's how I started reviewing cars. My first car was a GT86. No one knew about it actually in the market. Yeah, so I was like, I need to like hunt for more cars, and then now later on, it's evolved to like just identifying cars. Because even like for people who can see, sometimes they struggle with different models. Yeah. And for me, I just need to touch the body panels and tell you this is V8, this is not V8, LC, this is a VITS, this is like that. So I started like customizing even for the local market that we have. Yeah, just loving what I do.
Wow. Yeah. So apart from maybe people not being sure whether you're sure of what you're doing, and what other challenge did you face when you were starting?
When I was starting production, which was a very big challenge, of course, like trying to create content and, you know, like you don't have money to maintain the crew. And these guys are coming with expensive cameras.
Guys, it's tough.
They tell you, you know, charge you this much. So it got to a point actually I used to like hire cameras to shoot, and then just penetrating the market. Like it's very hard to convince people until they see that you actually do these things. They are like,
yeah, you have to show something.
Yeah.
Wow. So Julio, of course there's so many videos of you reviewing the cars, and you do an amazing job.
Thank you.
And there was this video that you did while driving. Yeah. And I'd like to know, you know, we'd like to understand like how you able to do it. Yeah. And at any point did it bring, you know, an issue on your side?
Oh yeah. So driving for me, it was out of I want to do all these things that had sort of like limited myself because of my blindness. So I started like you know, with a motorbike, the field of view at the time, because I was low vision, it was better. And then with the cars, I was like, let me just try with small distances like parking and all. And even now, I don't drive cars on mainstream roads. Yeah. So I remember this one time I put up the video, and we did a very cool transition where I'm driving, and then we are now in the highway, Southern Bypass, where people sort of like went all out. They even contacted NTSA, come see, this guy is putting people in danger. Actually, and the guy who called me from NTSA, I started explaining my story, and he was like, wow, that's so inspiring. I want to meet you in person. We actually met for coffee. But people don't understand that for some of these things, it's to show that we're trying to break the ceiling of impossibilities. So I can't drive like on thicker highway.
Super highways.
Okay, one day I might try, but we need, of course we'll put measures, safety measures, because I have so many ideas of doing like crazy stuff. But again, there is my safety and the safety of other road users and people around me. Yeah.
Wow. So Julio, throughout this journey now of being, we could say now you're a public figure.
Okay.
Yes. On the other side,
I don't see myself
as one. Yes. Okay, you're a content creator, because we've been creating content. I see you with different celebrities as well, doing this. Like, what motivates you each and every day to continue doing it? You know. Yeah.
I think my biggest motivator is life itself, because like with each day, things are different. Yesterday is not the same as today. It won't be the same tomorrow. And your drive in life and your fire, the reason why you wake up and decide like, I am gonna do this and I'm gonna do it the best I can. I think my motivator comes in where like I'm able to do, like I have that chance, I have this opportunity to do now. I don't know about tomorrow, and I live that way because I have seen, I haven't seen, I've seen a bit, I haven't seen again, you know, like all that uncertainty, you remain the constant. Everything can be happening around you, but your circumstances don't define you. Also, my disability don't define me. And I normally tell people, just know me for who I am first, before you make assumptions of how blind people are supposed to behave or how they're supposed to do things. Because even like the other day I posted the video of me cooking. I was making ugali, and people are like, no, this guy can see. And I get that a lot. And actually, it gets to a point where it goes over to be cyberbullying, because when people start attacking you, you're chasing clout using disability. I'm like, no one wants a disability. Trust you me.
Nobody.
If you have a chance of getting out of the disability world, you take it without blinking, because disability is not, and I know sometimes people say like, you make blindness so cool. I feel like wanting to be blind. I'm like, this idea na hiyo macho. So it's not easy, but we make it happen, and we make life what we want it to be. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So you faced cyberbullying as well?
I still face, because even like when I'm doing my own things, people still criticize everything that I do. You find like I put up a video and someone will just concentrate on one thing. Like, okay, how did you do that? You know, even like for watches, I wear watches. Today I'm wearing a Braille watch, and you'll see people asking, why do you have the watch? What is the watch for? You know, why do you curl your hair? Yeah. You know, they don't realize that even like for personal grooming, it's a very intentional thing to do, and also you decide what you want to be. Yeah. So I don't let it get to me, because the truth is there.
Yeah, I think it goes back to lacking of information.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as a society, you find that most of us, we don't have the information when it comes to such things, how to go about people with disabilities, unfortunately.
And actually, some people, they don't know how to handle different.
Yeah.
Because you're used to the blind guys that you've been seeing.
Yeah, you know.
You now see a blind guy who's trying to push boundaries, and you're like, no, it can't be.
Yeah.
Because blind people don't do this. And I'm like, okay, that's your opinion.
You're here to break the barriers.
Yeah, hold my beer. No, as a matter of fact, hold my white cane. I'll show you. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Of course, you share a lot of things online, the content, and also your personal life.
Yeah.
You've at some point you even shared in 2022. You shared about you and your ex expecting a child and everything. I'd like to know, talking of your love life. How has it been as a blind person? Have you faced, before we get to the main tea, guys? Anyway, guys, by the way, we are filming this at Clarence Hotel. It's located in Westlands at near Sarit Center. Sorry, in case maybe you're around these areas, you can always come. You enjoy some amazing meals. They also have furnished apartments, so you can book them. So, Julio, as we continue, like, how would you say your love life has been?
I'd say, and I normally don't put anything on my life, any aspect of my life. So I'd say it's been normal.
Oh, really?
So for everything, everything that has been happening or should happen, that's the same, because I don't see myself different. So the same way I'd get in a relationship and be treated, the same way that person would treat some other person. But where I draw the line is where now my disability comes in. Because I have never, and I would never put my disability on the table. Like, even like to get ahead of other people in a curve, like even job-wise, promotion and all, I wouldn't play the disability card, because that way I'm actually retrogressing to where we've come from, because it's supposed to be an equal society. So my love life, my love language, love is blind, by the way.
Oh wow, that's a good one.
Yeah. So anything that comes to any man, any woman, like, okay, I'm a man. Character development and all, you know.
Doesn't haichagui.
You just go with it. So yeah, my love life, normal as hell. Yeah.
Wow. So you've not faced maybe challenge or felt some discrimination just because you're blind when it comes to love life?
No, you face. Of course, you get people making comments like, you know, I can never be with a blind person.
Oh.
Or it will be difficult to be with you in a relationship. And I'm like, that's good, you know. There's so many people out here. And roho inapenda kenye imependa. So I can't really like dictate what you want your sort of like ideal relationship to be. And again, I can't like put myself like, you know, like this sort of like dominant, you know, like just because I am or I should or I can give you the best life, you know. It's supposed to be mutual.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be mutual. And again, when I have someone, they're supposed to not magnify my disability, but look at it from a very, you know, how do you say this? Not focusing on the disability, or not going, especially pity. Or if you go the pity side and sympathy, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so what? How about, we recently saw that you posted that unfortunately, whoever you were doing life with, it's no longer happening anymore. I'd like to know, is it a part of you that you would like to talk about, or you wouldn't want to go to that level? Ulitupostia pale alafu ukangoa, ukaondoa.
I know, and that's because I don't talk about it, because, you know, we all have like up and downs in relationship. It's not perfect. Again, we are not all perfect people. And I cannot, you know, come out here and start talking about what happened or what went down without having the other person. So, yeah. Life continues.
You are character developed, ama wewe ndio character develop yana.
You never know. So, inaendelea tu. You take what comes your way, and you know.
Okay, and in the next maybe relationship, are you the kind of person who feels you're gonna share with us again online, or maybe you're gonna have a different experience?
You know, like growth brings a lot of perspectives, and it deepens your understanding about relationships, about your partner, and how you're supposed to treat, or what you're supposed to share. So at this point, I wouldn't say what I can or can't do, because again, watu watamaki, watabookmark, and then they'll come to say, but you said this.
Receipts.
but again, you also respect the boundaries of your partner. Because I'm out here, I'm known, and I do all these things without having to feel like I need to hide anything. So if I get someone and they don't want to be in the limelight, let it be. If I get someone and they are already in the limelight, then I'm actually not even like exposing them in any way. So I would say also like privacy is very important, and you should respect people and how far they want to go with, you know, publicity and all. Yeah, so nothing is cast on, you know, stones.
On stones, true. Maybe Julio, as we conclude, what would you tell your amazing fans that have been supporting you? Maybe somebody that you'd like to appreciate, and also to people who are maybe they're also blind, or maybe they're having any type of disability. What would you tell them?
I'd say for my fans, I really appreciate. Like I have a deep appreciation for everyone who gives me love, support, and I know I can't get to all of you, but I use my craft to get to you, because I can't really like spend time with everyone that follows me. But through my art and through everything that I put my mind and hands on, touch and feel, you're able to see a different and positive side of life. And for anyone with a disability, I'd say the world is within your grasp. Regardless of your disability, regardless of your circumstances, just work with what you have and build up on that, and look at the amazing things you've been able to achieve so far, without looking at the negative side or what is trying to bring you down. Yeah, so life is beautiful, and as I said, it's what you make it. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Julio. We really appreciate your time, and also we've planned this for so long. But
I know.
Yeah, I'm really
it's been back and forth.
Exactly. I'm so happy that it finally happened. And guys, I hope you've been inspired, because Julio's story is such an it's such an inspiring story. I've always wanted to know, you know, this guy, how does he do it? So leo hata mimi nilikuwa nataka kusikia hii story. So I hope you've also enjoyed, and make sure you follow him on his social media handles. What are your social media handles? Maybe you can mention.
Yeah. So YouTube, you can look for Julio Supercharge, and Julio is J, by the way. Julio, the way.
Yeah, I decided to call you that today.
So many people just decided it's gonna be Julio.
Yes.
And then on Twitter or X, look for J Supercharge. J is for Julio, of course.
Yeah.
TikTok, same, J Supercharge. Instagram, J Supercharge. LinkedIn, Julius Mbura. And Facebook, Julius Mbura. And I know there's a Julius Mbura account. Look for the page. I think we are inching 22,000 followers now. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. And we wish you all the very best. Continue doing the amazing work that you do. And continue inspiring lives.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, so it has been the Mungai Eve Show. In case you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, guys, take this time, hit that subscribe button, like this video, you share it. Till next time, bye-bye.